Hi, hello friends. Welcome to today's session. Before starting with the subject, let me introduce myself. My name is Trilok Chandra. I am a qualified chartered accountant. I am in this teaching profession for past 6 years. I used to deal with two subjects for the IPCC students, that is cost and management accounting, and one more subject is financial management. Okay, now so I want to mention one point before starting the subject. Normally whoever attending my class, whoever viewing the videos will be from two backgrounds. Majority of the students will be from two backgrounds, from the degree background, and some other students is from the CPT background. So normally whoever came from BCom background, they will have few idea regarding the cost accounting. I mean, you might come across basics of the cost accounting. When it comes to CPT students, it's purely new subject. So when I say new subject, you have to study from ABCD. So you need to start from the scratch. So even though you are from BCom background, whatever you study in the BCom is just a basics. In our IPCC level, we are going to deal some of the advanced concepts, and the same subject is going to continue in the final level also. There we are going to study very advanced. So this subject is not only for the intermediate, that is IPCC, it will continue in the final level also. So what I mean to tell you is, you need to have strong conceptual understanding. It will help you in the final level also. I hope you all understand what I am saying. Okay, yeah. So what I mean to tell you is, this subject is same for all the students. There is nothing like brilliant and average student, nothing like that. So this subject is equal for all the students because everyone is going to start from the ABCD. So the only thing required for the subject is little bit concentration and focus. Okay, and I want to mention one more point here. Initially, when I start with the subject, you might feel you will not get understand in what context I am discussing the concepts. The reason behind that is, this subject is very new to you. So suppose if you take financial accounting or any other subject like law or the subjects like taxation, I mean law or auditing, generally you will have the idea regarding the subject because financial accounting you are studying from the PUC or intermediate. Okay, so this subject is absolutely new to you. So the thing required is, initially you require some patience. I am telling you, once I complete the first 4 topics of our subject, definitely I am telling you, you will be having conceptual understanding of the subject and you will get to know on what basis we are discussing, what we are discussing in the classroom. Until that time, you might have little bit confusion. So have the patience and listen to me carefully while I am discussing the concept. No need to worry, everyone will understand the subject. I am assuring you. By the end of the sessions, I am absolutely promising you, everyone will have great understanding of the subject. That is my promise. The only thing required is proper dedication toward the subject and showing some interest toward the subject. And it's absolutely easy subject. Okay, initially you might feel it is generalized. So later point of time you realize this subject is more practical oriented. It's very, very interesting. Okay, yeah. So let me start with the subject. In these videos we are discussing cost and management accounting. Okay, let us start with the subject. And one more thing, no need to write anything, everything is given in the material. I will tell you what to write in your notes. Just you need to copy that's it. I mean, whatever the information that I am telling to copy, you copy that information alone. No need to write everything. If you want to write the running notes, you can keep separate notes. If you want to write the running notes along with the class, you can keep separate notes, and what need to be written in the notes I will clearly mention. Okay, yeah. See, we are starting with the subject cost and management accounting. Cost and management accounting. The name itself refers two subjects. What are the two concepts that is referring means? Number one, cost accounting, number 2 management accounting. That means we are going to study parallelly. We are going to study parallelly two different types of accounting, that is cost accounting and management accounting. You already come across the financial accounting, that is what normal accounting, that what we discuss in the PUC level and in the CPT and in the BCom. So in this case we are going to study two subjects at a time, that is cost accounting and management accounting. Understanding? Now that means this subject is divided into two. What is the two? Number 1 cost accounting, number 2 management accounting. If you see the names of the two accounting systems, in these two, which is common is accounting is common. Here also we are mentioning the name accounting, here also we are mentioning the name accounting. First let us understand what is accounting. What is accounting? What is accounting? The record of all money related transactions is called as the accounting. Recording of all money related transactions is called as the accounting. There are different definitions, but please understand we are going with the simple definitions. Okay, so what is accounting? Recording of all money related transactions. Recording of money related transactions is called as the accounting. Are you understanding what I am saying? What is accounting means? Recording of all money related transactions is called as the accounting. Okay, so here the main element is recording of transactions. Recording of transactions is called as the accounting. Then what is cost accounting? Let us understand that. What is cost accounting? What is cost accounting? Recording of cost related transactions. So then what is cost accounting means? Recording of cost related transactions is called as the cost accounting. Understanding? So let me understand this. Let me understand the difference between accounting and cost accounting. See, accounting means, in case of accounting, we are going to record all the transactions which are related to money. So when it comes to company, if you take any X company, in that X company you are going to record each and every transactions which are related to money. Even you might spend 10 rupees or you may spend 10 lakh rupees, whatever the case it is, we are going to record the transactions. That is called as the accounting, or we can call it as the financial accounting. But when it comes to cost accounting, when it comes to cost accounting, we are going to record only cost related transactions. Is there any difference? Means absolutely there is a difference between financial accounting and cost accounting. The difference is, in financial accounting we are going to record all the transactions, whereas in case of cost accounting we are going to record only transactions related to cost. Are you understanding what I am saying? So if you look at this, see, I can take like this. If you take this much is the financial accounting. If you take this is the financial accounting, out of that this is called as the cost accounting. Understanding? This is the financial accounting, this is the cost accounting. That means financial accounting is very wide and cost accounting is very narrow. Or financial accounting is very generalized. When it comes to cost accounting, it is specialized. Are you understanding the difference between financial accounting and cost accounting? Okay, yeah. Let me continue. Now let us discuss what is management accounting. What is management accounting? Management accounting is nothing but decision making. It is nothing but decision making based on cost accounting. Decision making based on cost accounting and financial accounting. Based on cost accounting and financial accounting. As I told you, financial accounting is you people already studying from the PUC. So now we are going to learn how to do the cost accounting. Based on these two, we need to make the decisions. For making decisions, we need to understand the management accounting. So in our subject, we are going to deal two concepts, that is cost accounting and management accounting. Management accounting decisions will be made based on the cost accounting. Are we going to discuss the financial accounting decisions? Absolutely no, because we are studying here cost accounting. So we are going to understand how to make the decisions related to cost. Are you understand what I'm saying? The main logic here, when it comes to, see here we are studying parallelly, cost accounting and management accounting, we are studying parallelly. So what we are going to do means we are going to make the decisions related to the cost accounting. Understanding? Let me summarize what the subject that we are discussing is cost and management accounting. It involves two subjects, that is cost accounting and management accounting. First of all, what is accounting means? Recording of all transactions related to money. That means all the transactions which can be quantifiable in money will be recorded in the accounting. Then what is cost accounting means? In case of cost accounting, we are going to record only transactions related to cost. So financial accounting is very generalized. We are going to record the n number of transactions. When it comes to cost accounting, it is very specialized. We are going to record only transactions related to cost. That means in case of cost accounting, we are going to discuss how to record the transactions relating to cost. We are not going to discuss all the transactions. Understanding? That is the difference between cost accounting and normal accounting, that is financial accounting. When it comes to management accounting, what we are going to do using the management accounting means we are going to make the decisions. Generally, what the management will do, they'll make the decisions. Understanding? See, normally, what is management? The art of getting work done from others. The art of getting work done from others is called as the management. Then what the management will do? If everything is done by others, then what the management will do? They'll make the decisions. So decision making is the job of the management. So in case of management accounting also, we are going to see how to make the decisions. So decision made on what basis? On the basis of cost accounting and financial accounting. Are you understanding? Okay, so we are going to discuss in case of cost accounting, along with the cost accounting, we are going to discuss the management accounting. In case of management accounting, we are going to discuss the decision making. All of you clear about the subject? So our subject is also divided the same way. So first we need to do the cost accounting, then we need to make the decisions. Correct? So without making cost accounting, we cannot make the decisions. So first we need to understand how to do the cost accounting. Based on cost accounting, we are going to make the decisions. Our subject is also designed in the same pattern. All of you understand what I am saying? So this is the small introduction about our subject, cost and management accounting. No need to write anything, because these things are not going to come in the examination. Okay, so the first thing that we need to understand elaborately is what we need to understand means what is cost. So we need to understand what is cost. Okay, so first let us understand the element of, what is the meaning of the cost. See, there are different definitions for the cost. Okay, different experts has given different point of view regarding the cost, but I am going to go with the one of the simple definition related to cost. Okay, so let us understand definition of cost. Definition of cost. What is cost? See, to understand this, I am going to take one of the example. Let me take one example. What is the example? See here. Let us take a person called as the Ramaswamy. The name of the person is Ramaswamy. See, suppose you people cleared CA final with All India first rank. Happy appa? Yes, absolutely we are happy. Correct? Passing itself is a great thing, but clearing with CA All India first rank is absolutely more happy. Correct? Now, you people cleared the CA final with All India first rank. Tell me, what is the next step? Once you got cleared with the CA, what is the next step? What is the thing that you are getting into mind? Most of the students will not get anything into the mind, because until clearing CA, the only thought run in the mind is we have to clear CA. Correct? So that is the biggest dilemma. The moment you clear the CA, the biggest dilemma is we don't know what to do next, because see, most of the students say that whenever you say about the future, they'll say like, let me clear CA final first, then we will think about the future. Correct? That is the perception of the CA students. Okay, fine. So normally a few people will say marriage also, but before marriage we need to start the earnings. Correct? So there are different options for the CA, but majority of the students will prefer two options. What are the two options? One is employment and one more thing is practice. Correct? Nowadays most of the people is going for the employment, but one more option available is practice. This is the major options available to the CS student. Okay, so let us take one of the person, Ramaswamy. The name of the person is Ramaswamy. Just example pa. Ramaswamy. He also written the CA final exam. He also got the very good rank, all India first rank. Now he is in dilemma whether to go for employment or to go for the practice. How to make the decision? Normally the decision will be made based on the technique called the cost benefit analysis. Whenever you want to make the decision, I'm telling you, whenever you want to make the decision, we need to follow the technique called the cost benefit analysis. Understand what I'm saying? So we need to see, just a second. Okay, so while making the decision, we need to use the technique called the cost benefit analysis. We need to check by taking decision what is the benefit I'm getting and what is the cost I'm spending. If benefit is more than cost, we'll go with the decision. If benefit is less than cost, we'll not go with the decision. Are you understand what I'm saying? So same way here also, the dilemma of the Ramaswamy is whether to go for the employment. That is the dilemma. Whether to go for the employment. How to make the decision? He need to see what is the benefit and what is the cost. He need to see what is the benefit and what is cost. So check with the benefit and check with the cost. Here benefit, what is the benefit he is going to get if he choose for the employment? He already got the all India first rank, so obviously minimum to minimum they will offer him 1 lakh per month. Correct? Minimum to minimum they will offer 1 lakh per month. So this is the benefit what he is going to get. Now there is one more option called as the practice. There is one more option called as the practice. If you go for the practice, let us take an example. He already has some of the clients in his hand. So just I'm taking an example. 1 lakh, he is thinking to get 1,20,000 per month. Just I'm taking an example, but initially getting 1,20,000 per month is very, very difficult. But let us take an assumption that he already has the sufficient clients. So he is going to get 1,20,000 per month. Now tell me, should he go for the employment or should he go for the practice? Should he go for the employment or should he go for the practice? Tell me. Absolutely, you should go for the practice, not for the employment. Why? Because by going to employment, he is getting only 1 lakh rupees. Understanding? Now, if you go for the practice, this is the income from the practice. If you go for the practice, he is going to get 1,20,000 per month. Now what is happening actually? Now the decision is should not go for the employment. Why he should not go for the employment? Benefit is 1 lakh rupees, cost is 1,20,000 rupees. Now tell me that 1 lakh benefit, why we are telling him not to go for the employment? Because benefit is less. Okay. If you go for the employment, if he go for the employment, he is going to get the benefit of only 1 lakh rupees. Now the question is, why we are treating this 1,20,000 as cost? You tell me, does we are spending out of our pocket that 1,20,000? Are we spending 1,20,000 out of our pocket? Absolutely no. We are not spending that 1,20,000 out of our pocket. But still, I am taking it as a cost. What cost it is means? It is an opportunity cost. If you go for the employment, if I go for the employment, I am going to get 1 lakh rupees, but I am going to lose 1,20,000. If I go for the employment, I am going to get 1 lakh rupees, but I am going to lose 1,20,000. So that 1,20,000 will be treated as cost. That 1,20,000 will be treated as cost. See, if I want to go for employment, I need to sacrifice 1,20,000. I need to sacrifice 1,20,000 and then I need to go for the employment. Understanding? So, see, actually, people might think whenever I say cost, they will think expense is the cost. But please understand, cost is somewhat wider than the expense. Expense means what? Whatever the amount that we are spending out of our pocket will be called as the expense. Understanding? But cost is somewhat wider than the expense. Even though we are not spending out of pocket, but still we will treat it as the cost. In this case, that 1,20,000 income from the practice, we are treating it as the cost. What kind of cost it is? It is an opportunity cost. We have an opportunity to earn 1,20,000, but we are sacrificing that and we are going for the employment, means then that 1,20,000 will be treated as the cost. All of you clear? So what is cost? Means cost means any sacrifice made. Cost means any sacrifice made. So if you sacrifice something, that will treat as cost. Hold on. We need to elaborate the definition. Okay, in this case 1,20,000 has been treated as the cost. Okay, as I told you, he took the decision and he is going for the practice. Okay, once he decided, what is the next step? So he started the practice, well settled. Now tell me, what is the next step? Marriage. That is also one of the part of the life, correct? The next step is marriage. Now what happened? Our Ramaswamy is in relation. I mean, is in love with a beautiful girl. Name is Alia Bhatt. Just example. He is in love with Alia Bhatt. So he completed with the setup of his office. Now he is thinking to get married Alia Bhatt because he is already in love with Alia Bhatt. So he went to his dad to express his love. I mean, to tell about his love. So he went to his dad and he told him that he is in love with Alia Bhatt. He is going to get married to the Alia Bhatt. I hope you know the reaction of the parents. He reacted like anything and he finally told like, how dare you to tell like this to me? So you should not get married to Alia Bhatt. I already saw the girl. You need to get married the girl whom I already saw. So let us take an example. His dad has seen the girl. The name of the girl is, he is also one of the beautiful lady. The name of the girl is Katrina Kaif. Just example, the name of the girl is Katrina Kaif. Now there is a big fight between Ramaswamy and his dad Linguswamy. So there is a big fight between these two people. Now finally, Linguswamy, the father of Ramaswamy, threatened the Ramaswamy saying that if you didn't get married to Katrina Kaif, I don't know, you are going to face the dangerous consequences. Like that he threatened him. So finally, Ramaswamy decided to sacrifice the Alia Bhatt. Now Alia Bhatt is totally out of the picture. Now he sacrificed the Alia Bhatt. Now he got married to Katrina Kaif. Now you tell me, here Ramaswamy is making sacrifice the love of Alia Bhatt. Tell me, is it cost? Now the question is it cost? Is it cost? I will say absolutely no. Absolutely no. Why it is no? Because we cannot quantify the love between Ramaswamy and Alia Bhatt in terms of money. We cannot quantify in terms of money. So it is not a cost. So to take anything as a cost, it should be quantifiable in monetary terms. Monetary terms in the sense money terms. Then only we can call it as the cost. Are you understand what I am saying? So the cost should be in terms of monetary. It should be in monetary terms. Then only we can call it as the cost. The second condition is it should be quantifiable in monetary terms. Okay. Now let me elaborate still more. As we discussed, so he already had the setup of the office. He got married. Now his full focus is onto office. Just beside to office there is one temple. The trustee of the temple is renovating the temple. He is making some, he demolishing some part of the temple and he is reconstructing the temple. Now he is collecting the donations. On the same part, he came to Ramaswamy. For collecting donation. Now Ramaswamy is very good person and he is in the path of spirituality. So he took the checkbook and he given 10,000 rupees check. He given 10,000 rupees worth check to the temple renovation. For the temple renovation. You tell me, this 10,000 rupees, whatever the amount paid by the Ramaswamy, is it cost? Now the question is, the 10,000 rupees, is it cost? Are he sacrificing? Yes. How much he is sacrificing? 10,000. Is it cost? I will say it is not a cost. Absolutely no. Sir, why it is not a cost? Why it is not cost? Means because it is not for the purpose of business or profession. So if you spend the money for your personal purpose, we cannot call it as the cost. It should be for the purpose of business or profession, then only we can call it as the cost. So that means it should be for the purpose of business or profession, then only we can call it as the cost. So that means to take any amount as a cost, it should satisfy three conditions. There should be some sacrifice and which can be quantifiable in monetary terms, and it should be for the purpose of business or profession, then only we can call it as the cost. Okay, I hope you all understood. So please give the heading. Please give the heading cost classification and cost sheet. Take your notes. Please give the heading cost classification and cost sheet. Cost classification and cost sheet. Okay. Yeah. In that right side heading, definition of cost. Definition of cost. Definition of cost. In the right, cost means any sacrifice made for the purpose of carrying on business or profession and which could be quantifiable in monetary terms, will be considered as cost. Cost means any sacrifice made for the purpose of carrying on business or profession and which could be quantifiable in monetary terms, will be considered as the cost. Example, just we can write the example. What can be taken as example? Salary of the staff, rent of the office premises, etc. Salary, rent, etc. And one more thing, most of the points will be there in the material, but please, I am suggesting you whatever I am asking to write on the write in the notes, please write it in the notes. The best notes for the preparation for the examination is handwritten notes, that own handwritten notes. You might find n number of materials in the market, but I am telling you, your handwritten notes is the best material for the preparation. So whatever the things I asked to write in the notes, try to write it in the notes. Okay, yeah, please copy this definition. This is there in the material also, but still you copy it in the notes. Few things you have to copy it in the notes. Okay, yeah, you might already copied. Let us see the material. Yeah, look at this. So the first topic is cost classification and cost sheet. Okay. Okay. Please take the material. Look into that first point, cost. I given the definition, same definition here also. Cost means any sacrifice made for the purpose of carrying on business or profession and which could be quantifiable in monetary terms. So if these three conditions satisfied, any amount can be considered as the cost. So the examples to that is salary, rent, etc. You can take stationery, purchases, all these things can be considered as the cost. Understanding? Okay, now. So, if you see the second point, here I given the definition of the cost according to CA Institute material. It is also the same thing, the amount of expenditure, actual or notional. So, there is a difference between actual and notional. Actual is the real amount spent. Okay, when it comes to notional, it is a unreal, unrealistic or imaginary. Understanding? In our example, 1,20,000 from practice is an imaginary value. If you go for the employment, if he go for the employment, that 1,20,000 is imaginary. We are thinking that we are going to get 1,20,000. Understanding? So some of the estimated values will also be considered as the cost. Okay, actual or notional incurred on or attributable to specified article, product or activity. So we have to incur the expenditure related to activity, product and then article. Then only we consider it as the cost. Are you understanding what I am saying? Okay. So then what is costing? It is very simple. The technique of ascertaining cost or that process of ascertaining cost. Look at this. Costing is defined as the technique and process of ascertaining cost is called as the costing. Suppose if you are manufacturing the pencil, for this pencil we need to arrive at the cost. So how to arrive the costing? Using costing. So if you arrive the cost of this pencil, that will be called as the costing. It is one of the technique of ascertaining the cost of the activity, article or product. Understanding? That is called as the costing. And we already discussed the cost accounting. What is cost accounting? Recording of cost transactions. So if you look at the cost accounting, the process of accounting of cost which begins with the recording of income and expenditure. I told you cost transactions. So here we are mentioning that income and expenditure, and using that income and expenditure accounting, we are going to prepare the statements. That is called as the cost accounting. Estimated statements is called as the cost accounting. Look at this. The process of accounting for cost which begins with the recording of income and expenditure are the basis on which they are calculated and ends with the preparation of periodical statements and reports for ascertaining and controlling cost. So it ends, when it comes to cost accounting, it begins with the recording of income and expenditure. And ends with the preparation of the statements. And reports for ascertaining and controlling the cost. So these are the few small definitions which we need to have understanding before starting with the subject. Okay, so before going to next topic, let us summarize. We started with the understanding of the cost and management accounting. Normally in this subject we are going to study two concepts, that is cost accounting and management accounting. What is accounting means? Recording of all transactions, all money related transactions is called as the accounting. Then what is cost accounting means? Recording of cost transactions is called as the cost accounting. Financial accounting is very generalized. When it comes to cost accounting, it is specialized. In financial accounting, we record all the transactions. In case of cost accounting, we record only cost transactions. Then what is management accounting means? Management accounting is nothing but decision making. Decision making on the basis of what? On the basis of cost accounting and financial accounting. Okay, then we discuss the definition of cost. What is cost? Cost means any sacrifice made for the purpose of carrying on business or profession and which could be quantifiable in monetary terms will be considered as the cost. That means there should be a sacrifice and it should be for the purpose of business or profession and it should be quantifiable in monetary terms. Then only we consider it as the cost. Understanding? Then what is cost accounting or costing? Then what is costing? Then what is costing? The technique or process of ascertaining the cost is called as the costing. Okay, these are the basic definition. Now let us start with one of the important concept called as the cost classification. Okay, let me have the introduction to the cost classification. Cost classification. Okay, let us understand what is this cost classification. See, just I am taking the example. If you take the classroom, there will be group of people. There will be group of people in the classroom. The people can be bifurcated. The people can be bifurcated or can be classified in different ways. How we can classify? Boys, girls. From Bangalore, out of Bangalore. Faculty, student. From BCom background, from CPT background. Like that we can make the classification. The same group of people. Are you understanding what I am saying? The same group of people we are classifying in different ways. Understanding? Same way in our cost accounting also, we are going to classify the same cost in different categories. We are going to classify the same amount of cost in different categories. Why we need to do that? To achieve some purpose. Why we need to make the cost classification means to achieve some purpose. So according to the purpose, we need to classify the cost. What is the purpose? Means there are three main purposes for the cost classification. What are the three main purposes? Means number one, stock valuation and profit computation. Number two, decision making. Number three, control. Understanding? So I am telling you again, there are three main purposes for the cost classification. Why we need to make the cost classification means to achieve some purpose. There are three main purposes for the cost classification. Number one, stock valuation and profit computation. Number two, decision making. Number three, control. Understanding? So okay, now let me write. You can copy along with me. Please give the heading cost classification. Please give the heading cost classification. Now in that write purpose of cost classification. Purpose of cost classification. First, stock valuation and profit computation. Stock valuation and profit computation. Number two, decision making. Number three, control. Okay. If the purpose is stock valuation, profit calculation, we are going to classify the cost into number one. First classification is expired cost and unexpired cost. Second classification is manufacturing, administration, selling and distribution cost. Selling and distribution cost. Number three, product and period cost. Number four, unit cost and job cost. Unit cost and job cost. If the purpose is decision making, we will classify the cost into number one, variable, fixed and semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost. Number two, sunk cost. Number three, opportunity cost. Number four, marginal cost. If the purpose is control, If the purpose is control, we'll classify the cost into controllable cost. Number 2, uncontrollable cost. Controllable cost and uncontrollable cost. Please copy this. If you already copied, please revise the chart. Please go through the chart. If you already copied, please revise the chart. Product cost, period cost, unit cost and job cost. Okay, first we need to understand all these types of cost. So you need to understand what is expired cost, what is unexpired cost, what is controllable cost, what is uncontrollable cost, what is product cost, what is period cost, what is variable cost, what is fixed cost. We need to understand all these costs. Then we can start with the real subject. Okay, first let us start with the expired cost and unexpired cost. Okay, give the heading, side heading, expired cost and unexpired cost, expired cost and unexpired cost. Okay, to understand this expired cost and unexpired cost, I am going to start with one of the example. Let me take one example. Just I am taking the example. I will write one calculation here, just you tell me whether it is correct or wrong. Sale of 800 units at the rate of 20 is equal to 16,000. Purchase of 1000 units at the rate of 10 is equal to 10,000. Profit equal to 6,000. This is the calculation. Sale of 800 units at the rate of 20, 16,000 rupees. Purchase of 1000 units at the rate of 10, 10,000 rupees. I am writing the profit equal to 6,000. Sales is 16,000, purchase is 10,000, so profit is 6,000. This is what the calculation that I written. You tell me whether the calculation what I am making here is correct or wrong. The calculation what I am making here is correct or wrong. The answer is it's absolutely wrong. What is the mistake I am doing? I am wrongly comparing 800 kgs revenue with 1000 kgs cost, which is absolutely wrong. How to calculate the profit? We should compare the equal number of units. Revenue of n number of units should compare with the cost of n number of units. You cannot compare unequalized unit values. Okay, so what I mean to tell you, we have to compare 800 units revenue should compare with the 1000 units, should compare with the 800 units of the purchase cost. So what I am doing here is I am against to matching principle. So you need to match 800 units revenue with 800 units cost. So actually what happened here, I am purchasing 1000 units but I am making sales of only 800 units. That means there is a closing stock of 200 units. All of you understand what I am saying? There is a closing stock of 200 units. What we need to do with the closing stock? You need to take out the closing stock and it should be carried forward to next accounting year. Whatever the closing stock that we are taking out from the current year should be taken to next year as a opening stock. So what we need to do, first this 1000 units should be classified. This 1000 units, don't write anything. This 1000 units should be classified into two categories. Cost of goods sold and then closing stock. Cost of goods sold. How many units we are selling? 800 units we are selling. How many units is the closing stock? 200 units is the closing stock. So this 800 units should be valued at, each unit cost is how much? 10 rupees. So this 800 units should be valued at 10 rupees. This 200 units also should be valued at 10 rupees. Now it come to 8,000. It come to 2,000. All of you understand what I am saying? So the cost of 800 units, is 8,000. So how to calculate profit? Profit equal to sales. Instead of writing total cost, I will write cost of goods sold. We should consider the cost only to the extent of goods sold. Sales is 16,000. We already calculated. Cost of goods sold is 8,000. So the absolute profit is 8,000. Whatever the 6,000 that we calculate is absolutely wrong. What the real cost is? 8,000. Are you understanding what I am saying? Okay. Why here it is 6,000, here it is 8,000? Means here it is 6,000 because the 2,000 of closing stock has been reduced from the same current year, which is absolutely wrong. The 2,000 worth goods should carry forward to next accounting year. We cannot net off in the same year. We should net off the cost. We should set off the cost only to the extent of goods sold. Understanding? So that means this 8,000 rupees should set off in the same year. Should die in the same year. It cannot go to next year because it has been already sold. If someone dies, what we call? Expired. So this 8,000 will be called as the expired cost because it is already died in the same year. This is called as expired cost. This 2,000 rupees will still alive, will carry forward to next accounting year. Will carry forward to next accounting year as a opening stock. Understanding? So this is still alive. So it is called as the unexpired. So this is called as the unexpired cost. So then what is expired cost? Means the cost which is charged against current year revenue. See, this cost of goods sold is reduced from the current year sales. So then what is expired cost? Means the cost which is charged against current year revenue is called as the expired cost. What is unexpired cost? Means the cost which carry forward to next accounting year is called as the unexpired cost. Are you understanding what I am saying? What is expired cost? Whatever the cost that we net off from the current year sales is called as the expired cost. What is unexpired cost? The cost which carry forward to next accounting year is called as the unexpired cost. Are you understanding? Okay. So you start writing. Write this example. Write along with me what I am telling you. Just you write that. Don't write anything else. Okay. Sale of 800 units at the rate of 20 equal to 16,000. Purchase of 1000 units at the rate of 10 equal to 10,000. Profit equal to 6,000. After writing that, right? Is it correct? Question mark. Don't copy this. Just write this. Is it correct? Question mark. After writing this example, write is it correct? Question mark. Under that, right? Absolutely no. Under that, right? Absolutely no, comma. We are wrongly comparing. Absolutely no, comma. We are wrongly comparing 800 kgs revenue. 800 kgs revenue with 800 units revenue with 1000 units cost. 800 units revenue with 1000 units cost. Full stop. With 1000 units cost. Full stop. Which is against to matching principle. which is against to matching principle, which is against to matching principle. Okay, under that write this. First write 1000 units, classify into 2, cost of goods sold, closing stock, 800 units into 10, you just copy this. Next, closing stock 200 units into 10, just to copy this. After that, profit, copy the profit. Okay, now after that write, from now onwards whenever I say profit, generally people used to think profit equal to sales minus cost, but now onwards please understand, whenever you want to calculate the profit, profit equal to sales minus expired cost. We should not consider the unexpired cost, because unexpired cost will carry forward to next accounting year. Okay, so profit equal to sales minus expired cost is the final formula. You can put the box. Okay, another right. Note. Point 1, the cost which is charged against current year revenue, is called as expired cost. Expired cost. Example, cost of goods sold. Okay, second point, the cost which carry forward to next accounting year, is called unexpired cost. Example, closing stock. Please copy fast. Try to write as fast as possible. Okay. So this is what expired cost and unexpired cost. What is expired cost means? The cost which is charged against current year revenue is called as expired cost. Generally, in case of P&L, whatever the expense that were debiting in the whatever the expense that were showing in the debit side, all are expired cost. Salary, rent, stationery, printing, courier, telephone bill, electricity bill, all these are expired cost, because we are reducing from the current year sales and we are at the net profit. Then what is unexpired cost means? The stock which we carry forward to next accounting year, or the cost which we spent in the current year, whatever the cost that we carry forward to next accounting year is called as the unexpired cost. Okay. Next. In our first slide, slot, what is the next one? Manufacturing, administration, selling and distribution cost. Let us understand that. give the heading manufacturing administration selling and distribution cost. Manufacturing, administration, selling and distribution cost. So first we start with the manufacturing cost. Manufacturing cost. Let us start with the manufacturing cost. Okay, see, don't read anything, listen to me carefully. What is manufacturing cost? What is manufacturing cost means? The expense incurred at factory, all the expense incurred at factory will be considered as the manufacturing cost. It might be any expense, it might be any kind of expense, whatever the amount that we are spending at factory will be considered as the manufacturing cost. Please understand, generally our cost accounting focuses more on the manufacturing industries. It will focus more onto the manufacturing industries. Whenever I say manufacturing industries, the company will be broadly categorized into three categories. What is three categories means? Factory, corporate office and then sales departments. Let us take an example, Tata Motors. All the people might saw the Tata Motors. If you take the Tata Motors, the car manufacturing plant will be some other place. Understanding? Now the sales departments will be there all over the city. In all over the city you will have the sales department saying that Tata Motors. To manage and to record all the transactions, they will have one corporate office, that is called the administration office. Like that they will categorize into three categories. Whatever the amount that they are spending at plant or whatever the amount they are spending at factory, all the expense will be considered as the manufacturing cost. This is simple definition. All expenses incurred at factory is called as the manufacturing cost. But please understand, if you want to say it technically or officially, what is manufacturing cost means? The expense incurred from the purchase of raw material. The expense incurred from the purchase of raw material till the primary packing is called as the manufacturing cost. What is primary packing? We will discuss that later. As of now, understand, from the purchase of raw material till the primary packing of the product will be called as the manufacturing cost. Understanding? Now, see here, just I am writing first. Sorry. All expenses incurred at factory is called manufacturing cost. All expenses incurred at factory is called manufacturing cost. Or we can say it different way. The expenses incurred from the purchase, of raw materials till the primary packing of finished goods is called as manufacturing cost. The expense incurred from the purchase of raw material till the primary packing of finished goods is called as manufacturing cost. Okay. Now, the manufacturing cost. Whenever I say manufacturing cost, what is the manufacturing cost? The expense incurred in the factory. Now all the expense, whatever the expense that we are incurring in the factory, it again classified into three categories. What are the three categories? Number one, material. Number two, labor. Number three, expenses. So the manufacturing cost again classified into material, labor, expenses. Now all these three, that is material, labor, expenses, again classified into direct and indirect. That means material classified into direct material, indirect material. Labor classified into direct labor, indirect labor. Expenses classified into direct expenses and indirect expenses. Understanding? Let us write the chart. Let us write the chart. Classification of manufacturing cost. See here. Manufacturing cost. Manufacturing cost. You can write along with me. Don't waste the time. Please copy along with me. It is there in the material, but still you write it in the notes. I am telling you now, the best notes for the preparation is handwritten notes. Okay. Manufacturing cost classified into material, labor, and then expenses. Material again divided into two categories. Direct material, indirect material, direct labor, indirect labor, direct expenses, indirect expenses. Okay. Now if you add all the direct elements, that is direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, we call it as prime cost. The name for this is prime cost. If you add direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses, we call it as the prime cost. Okay. If you add indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses, we call it as overheads. We will call it as overheads. Okay. Yeah. Overheads again we can classify it into three categories. Overheads again classified into three categories, that is production overheads, administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads. Selling and distribution overheads. So this is the chart of the manufacturing cost. Okay. Now next thing, we need to understand what is direct material, what is indirect material, what is direct labor, what is indirect labor, what is direct expenses, and what is indirect expenses. So let us understand that. For this I will use the material. You can look into the material. So this is the chart what we given. Expired cost and expired cost, manufacturing. See the expense incurred from the purchase of raw material till the primary packing of finished goods. Result is called as manufacturing cost. In simple terms, all expenses incurred in a factory will be considered as manufacturing cost. Okay. Now, manufacturing cost: material, labor, expenses, direct material, indirect material, direct labor, direct expense, indirect expense, prime cost, overheads. So overheads again divided into three: production overheads, administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads. Okay. Now, direct material. Let us understand direct material. What is direct material? See, the material which can be economically identified in the finished good is called as the direct material, or which can be directly traced to the finished product is called as the direct material. Let us take an example: manufacturing of the bench from the teak wood. Just I am taking the example: manufacturing of the bench from the teak wood. Once the bench is manufactured, or using the plywood, let us take an example: using the plywood, they are manufacturing the bench. Once the bench is manufactured, by looking at the bench, we can say how much is the material consumed. That means by looking at the product, we can evaluate the material cost. We can trace the material cost. Such kind of things is called as the direct material, which can be economically identified in the finished good is called as the direct material. Or we can take textile products, shirt, pant, whatever it is. Once the shirt is stitched, we can say how much is the cloth has been consumed for stitching the shirt. So that means the cloth is the direct material. Are you understanding what I am saying? See here, material which are present in the finished good are economically identified in the finished good or finished product, or we can call it as the cost object. Okay, or the material can be economically identified in the product is called as the direct material. I am giving the example. If you look at this wood, wood is consumed for the furniture. Once the furniture is manufactured, we can see the wood in the furniture. So if you are able to see and if you are able to economically identify, that is called as the direct material. If you look at the textile products, they are consuming the cloth. They are consuming the cloth for the textile product, so it is called as the direct material. Understand what I am saying? Next, direct labor. What is direct labor means? The wages paid to the workers who is directly engaged in the production is called as the direct worker. I will give the example. See, suppose if you take a factory, there will be two type of people working within the factory. Who are the two type of people? Number one, workers, who is directly engaged in production. They will be directly involved. They will be directly involved in the production. And there will be supervisor, managers, foremen, all these people will be there. What they will do? Just they will supervise the workers. If you take the furniture manufacturing industry, there will be carpenters. There will be carpenters and there will be managers. Carpenter is called as the direct worker or direct labor. Understanding? Manager is called as the indirect labor. See, the moment the product got completed, we will pay the direct wages to the worker. It depends upon the two bases. When it comes to the payment to the workers, it depends upon the two bases. Number one, on time basis. Number two, on piece basis. Understanding? So, he is directly engaged in the production. So, whatever the amount we pay to the carpenter is called as the direct wages. Manager is indirectly influencing the work. Understanding what I am saying? So, he is not a direct worker, he is a indirect worker. All of you understood? If you look at the examples what I given here, labor cost which can be economically identified or attributed wholly to the cost object is called as the direct labor. If you are able to economically identify the cost, labor cost to the product is called as the labor cost or direct labor cost. Understanding? Now, employee engaged in the actual production of the product. Example, labor at factory, workers at construction, daily workers, daily wage workers. Okay, next, chef at canteen. These all category of people are directly involved in the production. So, all these people can be called as the direct workers. Understand what I am saying? Okay. So, next, direct expenses. See, it includes all expenses other than direct material and direct labor. Other than direct material and direct labor, whatever the amount that we are incurring will be considered as the direct expenses. Understanding? And but there is a specific condition, which are specially incurred for a particular cost object and can be identified in an economical feasible way. So, other than material and labor is called as the expense. But what should be considered as direct expense? Because in expense also again we have two types, direct expense, indirect expense. What should be considered as direct expense? The expense which is specifically spent for the product. The expense which can be economically identified with the product. Understand what I am saying? I'll give the example. See, I am into the manufacturing of the furniture. I get one special order with special designs. Now using the wood also we are creating so many different types of designs. To do that design, whatever the special order I am getting with special design, to do that design I require one machinery. But that machinery is not with me. I am hiring the machinery. If I hire the machinery, I am hiring the machinery and I am producing one single product which is a special order for me. For hiring the machinery, I need to pay the higher charges. Whatever the charges that I am paying, that's specifically attributable to the special design product. So that means I am not using that machinery for all the products. I am using specifically for the special order. So the higher charges what I am paying, that should be used for the specific product or special order product. Understanding? Now that higher charges will be charged to the special order product. So that higher charges is called as the direct expense. And one more thing I can say is excise duty, royalty. When it comes to excise duty, I need to pay excise duty on all the products. And I can trace to each and every product. If I produce one product, I need to pay some certain percentage of amount as a excise duty. Let us take an example. The product which I am manufacturing is having the worth of 10,000. Understanding? On that I need to pay the GST. Now we need to pay the GST. It's not excise duty. Now we need to pay the GST. In some other countries they might call it as the excise duty also. Are you understand what I am saying? And one more thing, royalty. For taking the books, print of the books, we need to get the royalty. We need to pay the royalty to the author. For each and every one book printing, we need to pay the royalty. So these all things will be considered as the direct expenses. Now let us see the indirect material. Now, what is direct material? The material which can be economically identified in the product. The material which can be seen with our eyes in the product is called as the direct material. What is indirect material? Means the material which cannot be seen with the eyes and which cannot be economically identified in the product is called as the indirect material. I'll give you the example. Look at this. Lubricants. What is lubricant? Grease, oils, all these mission oils, all these things which you use in the factory. In factory, there will be so many machineries functioning. For smooth functioning of machineries, we will use the lubricants. See here, I am taking machinery. For smooth functioning of this machinery, they will use the lubricants. Once the product got completed, can we say how much is the lubricants consumed? Using this machinery, they produce one of the product. Let us take an example. They produce one of the bench. Just I am taking an example. They produce one of the bench. Once the bench got completed, can we say how much is the lubricants consumed for manufacturing of the bench? Absolutely no. That means we are not able to trace. We are not able to trace the lubricants to the product. So it is an indirect material. If you are able to trace, direct material. If you are not able to trace, indirect material. Trace in the sense we need to evaluate. We should be in a position to evaluate. Understand what I am saying? Okay. Next. Safety wear. Generally what will happen within the factory, the safety wears will be worn by the labor. By wearing that safety wear, they will produce the products. But this safety wear material is nowhere related to the main product material. Once the product got completed, can we see the safety wear in the material? Can we see the safety wear in the product? Absolutely no. Are you understanding what I am saying? So this safety wear is an indirect material. But we are using the safety wear for the production. But once the product got completed, we cannot see the safety wear. We cannot economically identify the safety wear in the product. So it is an indirect material. All of you understood what I am saying? Okay. Now, see if you look at the picture what I given here, he is wearing the safety wear, but he is producing one of the product here. Understanding that once the product got completed, this safety wear is nowhere related to that product. Okay. Next. Indirect labor. Who is indirect labor? Once you take the factory, there will be different category of people working within the factory. But please understand what should be considered as direct. See, for all the people, whoever working within the factory, we are going to pay the salaries, we are going to pay the wages. Now the doubt is what should be considered as direct wages and what should be considered as indirect wages, or what should be considered as direct labor and what should be considered as indirect labor. What should be considered as direct labor? The amount paid to the workers who are directly engaged in the production is called as the direct wages. Understanding? The amount paid to the people who are not directly engaged, is called as the indirect labor. If you take the supervisors and foremen, are they producing the product? No. If you take the security guard, are they producing the product? No. If you take the janitors, who is janitors? Cleaning the premises, are they producing the product? Absolutely no. Who is producing the product? Only workers are producing the products. So the amount paid to the workers will be considered as the direct wages or direct labor. The amount paid to all this category of people will be considered as the indirect labor. Understood? Okay. Next. Indirect expense. What is indirect expense? Expenses other than direct expense. All the expense will be considered as the indirect expenses. Please understand, other than material labor is the expense. That expense again divided into direct expense and indirect expense. What is direct expense? The expense which can be directly allocated to the product is called as the direct expense. Other than direct expense is called as the indirect expense. Any amount, it can be any amount, will be categorized under the indirect expenses. Okay, now look at this. The expenses other than direct expense is known as indirect expenses that cannot be directly or conveniently or wholly allocated to cost center. We cannot allocate directly to the product. We should choose some other process. We'll discuss that later. Okay, next. Factory rent and rates, insurance of plant and machinery, power, light. These are the examples. Just I give some of the examples for the indirect expenses. Okay, here I given telephone bill, electricity bill, all these are the indirect expenses. Okay, this is about manufacturing cost. Okay, so here I given the point, the aggregate of direct material, direct labor, direct expense is called as prime cost or direct cost. Direct material, direct labor, direct expense will be called as direct cost or prime cost. Why we are calling it as prime cost? Because without material labor expenses we cannot produce the product. Primarily we require material labor to produce the product. Correct? Prime cost required. So these three elements are the prime which required for the manufacturing of the product. So we call it as the prime cost. Material labor are the prime. So that they call it as the prime cost. Okay, next. The aggregate of indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expense is called as the overheads. We already saw that overheads is again classified into production overheads, administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads. All of you understand what I am saying? This is about direct manufacturing cost and the classification into direct and indirect. Okay, no need to write anything. Remaining all the things are there in the material. Whenever you want, you can refer through the material. Just you can copy this chart. I hope everyone copied the chart. Okay, now see, we done with the manufacturing cost. Next, administration cost. Administration cost. Okay, what is administration cost? Sorry. The expenses incurred at corporate office. The expenses incurred at corporate office. What is corporate office? Administration office. As I told you, the manufacturing company will be broadly categorized into three categories. Factory, administration office, sales department. Whatever the expense that we are incurring at administration office will be considered as the administration cost. Okay, so examples. Salary of the staff, administration staff, rent of the office premises. Okay, stationery, courier charges, all these things can be considered as the administration cost, etc. So this is about administration cost. You can copy this. Next, selling cost. Selling cost. Okay, now what is selling cost? The expense incurred to promote the sales. The expense incurred to promote the sales. The expense incurred to promote the sales is called as the selling cost. Can you tell me some of the examples? What are the examples for the selling cost? What is the expense that will incur to promote? The best example is advertisement. Correct? So the example is advertisement. Then we can write as salesman commission, etc. Okay, next, distribution cost. Distribution cost. The expense incurred to dispatch the goods. The expense incurred to dispatch goods. The expense incurred to dispatch goods. Example, delivery boy. Delivery boy salary, delivery van maintenance, etc. So this is about manufacturing, administration, selling and distribution. Okay, now what is the next one in our first slot? What is the next one? Product cost and period cost. Let us understand that. Give the heading, product cost and period cost. Product cost and period cost. Okay. To understand product cost and period cost, just I am taking one of the example. Don't need to write anything. I'll give time to copy. Just focus on the discussion. Just listen to the discussion. See here. I'm taking one example. See here. Material 50,000, labor 30,000, administration cost 10,000, selling cost 10,000, totally it come to 1 lakh. Total it come to 1 lakh. Selling price equal to 15, units produced equal to 10,000, units sold equal to 8,000. Just I am taking example. This is the example. If you look at the example, I am taking material 50,000, labor 30,000, administration cost 10,000, selling cost 10,000, selling price 15 rupees, units produced 10,000, units sold is 8,000. Now I need to calculate the profit. Now we need to calculate the profit. Look at this. Can I say cost per unit? Can I say cost per unit as 1 lakh divided by 10,000? Cost per unit as 1 lakh divided by 10,000? Yes, absolutely. I am spending 1 lakh rupees and I am producing how many units? 10,000 units. What is the cost per unit? 1 lakh divided by 10,000, 10 rupees per unit. Understanding? Now sale price is 15 rupees, units sold is 8,000. So how much is the sales value? 8,000 into 15. See, I am telling you one more thing. While attending the class, please keep the calculator just beside to you. Please understand. So that is one of the weapon to attend the classroom. So while listening to the videos, while looking at the videos or while listening to the class, please keep the calculator beside to you. Okay, now tell me how much is the sales? How much is the sales? Unit sold is 8,000, selling price is 15 rupees. So 8,000 into 15 rupees, how much it come to? 1,20,000. Am I correct? So 1,20,000 rupees is the sales. 1,20,000 rupees is the sales. Cost is 1 lakh rupees. 1,20,000 minus 1,20,000 rupees is the profit. Am I correct? Am I correct? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. What is the mistake I am doing? I am wrongly comparing 8,000 units sales, 8,000 units sales with 10,000 units cost, which is against to matching principle. So what we need to do? The 10,000 rupees should be bifurcated into 8,000 and 2,000. What is the 2,000? Closing stock. Okay, I am producing 10,000, but I am making sales how many units? 8,000. Balance 2,000 will be considered as closing stock. Understanding? So what we need to do? First we will take 10,000 units. 10,000 units, which is having the value of 1 lakh. Now we will classify it into 2. Cost of goods sold and then closing stock. How many units we are selling? 8,000 units. How many units is lying as closing stock? 2,000 units. Each unit value is how much? 10 rupees. How we are getting 10 rupees? 1 lakh divided by 10,000, 10 rupees. So each unit is 10 rupees. So how much it costs? Cost of goods sold is 80,000. Closing stock is 20,000. So this is called as expired cost. Cost of goods sold is called as expired cost. Closing stock is called as the unexpired cost. So profit equal to sales minus COGS. What is COGS? Cost of goods sold. Okay. So that equal to sales. How much? 1,20,000. How we are getting 1,20,000? I have written in the brackets. 8,000 into 15. 1,20,000 minus cost of goods sold is 80,000. So that equal to 40,000 is the profit. So 40,000 is the profit. Understanding? Now the question is it correct? Is it correct? Tell me. The calculation what we are making, is it correct? I will say it is absolutely wrong. Okay, see. Why it is wrong? What the mistake that we are making? What the mistake that we are making is, we are wrongly evaluating the units. We are wrongly evaluating the units at total cost. We are wrongly evaluating the units at total cost. So then what we need to do? In cost accounting system, see, try to understand. There is a difference between financial accounting and cost accounting. That what I told you, you will get the full picture about cost accounting when I done with the 4 topics. Until that you will have little bit confusions. Here we are making one of the mistake. What mistake we are making means, in cost accounting system we need to evaluate the goods. We need to evaluate the units at manufacturing cost. We should not consider the total cost. What is total cost? Manufacturing cost plus administration cost plus selling cost plus distribution cost. If you add all these 4 costs, we will get the total cost. But in cost accounting system, we need to consider only manufacturing cost. To evaluate the product, we need to consider only manufacturing cost. Here I am taking 1 lakh rupees. This 1 lakh rupees includes administration and selling also. So that means I am arriving this 10 rupees. I am arriving this 10 rupees by taking administration and selling also, which is absolutely wrong. To evaluate the units, to evaluate the goods, we should consider only manufacturing cost. What is manufacturing cost? Material, labor, expenses. Okay, in our case I given material and labor, so we need to consider only material and labor. We didn't mention the expenses, so we'll take it as 0. So first we need to calculate manufacturing cost per unit. Whatever the 10 rupees that we calculated is a total cost per unit. We should not consider the total cost for the stock valuation. We should consider only manufacturing cost. When I say manufacturing cost, we need to consider only material, labor and expenses, but in this case expense is 0, so no need to consider the expenses. So then how to calculate? See here. Calculation of manufacturing cost per unit. Calculation of manufacturing cost per unit. Particulars amount. First, material. How much is the material? 50,000. Next, labor. How much? 30,000. If you add these two, normally we call it as the prime cost. Direct material plus direct labor plus direct expense is called as the prime cost. How much is prime cost? 80,000. Units produced 10,000. Cost per unit. What cost? Manufacturing cost per unit. Manufacturing cost per unit. Rupees 8. Manufacturing cost per unit rupees 8. Okay. So now total manufacturing cost is 80,000. Correct? So total manufacturing cost is 80,000. Now we'll classify this into two categories. Manufacturing cost of goods sold. Manufacturing cost of goods sold. Manufacturing cost of closing stock. Generally the stock should be valued at manufacturing cost. So 8,000 into 8 rupees. 2,000 into 8 rupees. So this is 64,000. This is 16,000. Okay, now we need to calculate the profit. Calculation of profit. How to calculate? Particulars amount. See, we already know all these calculations. Just I calculate the manufacturing cost per unit. Using manufacturing cost per unit, I am calculating cost of goods sold and I am calculating the closing stock. Okay, so here I am calculating the profit. How to calculate profit? First we'll take sales. How much is the sales? We are selling 8,000 units at what rate? 15 rupees. So 1,20,000 minus cost of goods sold. How much is the cost of goods sold? 64,000. Cost of goods sold is 64,000. We'll get gross profit. If you reduce the manufacturing cost alone, we call it as gross profit. How much is the gross profit? 56,000. Correct? 1,20,000 minus 64,000, 56,000 minus we are spending administration and selling also. Okay, so minus administration cost. How much? 10,000 minus selling cost. How much? 10,000. If you get is 36,000. So this is the profit. Earlier how much we got? 40,000. Correct? Earlier we got 40,000. Is it correct? Means absolutely wrong. What the mistake we are doing? We are wrongly evaluating the units at total cost. In cost accounting system, we need to evaluate at manufacturing cost. So we calculate the manufacturing cost per unit. Using that we calculate the cost of goods sold, manufacturing cost, and then closing stock value. Using that we calculate the profit 36,000. All of you understanding what I am saying? Okay. Now first let us write this example. Please copy this. Write fast. Material 50,000, labor 30,000, administration cost 10,000, selling cost 10,000, total 1 lakh. Selling price 15 rupees. Okay, next you can copy the classification. Write it here. Is it correct? Is it correct? Is it correct? Copy till there. completed. Improve your writing speed. It will be help in the examination also, because we need to complete the exam within 3 hours, correct? So improve your writing speed. Okay. Now, is it correct? Under that, right? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. The stock is wrongly valued at total cost. The stock is wrongly valued at total cost instead of manufacturing cost. Instead of manufacturing cost. Instead of manufacturing cost. Absolutely no. The stock is wrongly valued at total cost instead of manufacturing cost. And that right, calculation of manufacturing cost per unit. Okay. Okay. Write this heading. Note. That note, right? Side by side heading, product cost, period, cost. Under product cost, first point. No, first point. First point. The cost, which is, just you can copy along with me. Don't waste the time. You copy along with me. Note product cost, period cost, side by side heading. First point, the cost which is charged against sorry, I'm extremely sorry. The cost which is considered, for stock valuation, is called product cost. First point under period cost, you can copy along with me. The cost which is not considered, for stock valuation, is called period cost. The cost which is not considered for stock valuation is called period cost. Number 2, all manufacturing costs are product cost. All manufacturing costs are product cost. All non-manufacturing costs, I will explain everything, just you can copy notes along with me. All non-manufacturing costs are period cost. Product cost will be debited in trading account. Period cost will be debited in P&L account. Product cost will expire to the extent of goods sold and unexpired to the extent of closing stock. Period cost will expire fully. Okay, yeah, I hope everyone copied. Let us understand product cost and period cost. What is product cost? The cost which is considered for stock valuation is called product cost. Whatever the cost that were considered for stock valuation is called product cost. The cost which is not considered for stock valuation is called as the period cost. In our example, I am taking 4 different types of cost. What are the 4 different types of cost? Material, labor, administration cost, selling cost. When it comes to stock valuation, I am taking only material and labor. I'm not considering administration and selling cost. Correct? See here. When it comes to 8 rupees, while calculating 8 rupees, using 8 rupees only, I evaluated the stock. Using 8 rupees only, I evaluated the stock. While evaluating the stock, I am not considering administration and selling, I am considering only material and labor. So, material and labor is considered for stock valuation, so that we call it as the product cost. These two elements is called as the product cost. These two elements is called as the period cost. Why? Because it is not considered for the stock valuation, so that we call it as the period cost. What is the second point I given? You can check with the book. You already written, you can check with the book. What is the second point? All manufacturing costs are product cost, all non-manufacturing costs are period cost. Material, labor, expenses, all these things is called as the manufacturing cost. So, all manufacturing costs are product cost. Understanding? All non-manufacturing. What is non-manufacturing? Administration, selling, distribution. These three will be called as the non-manufacturing. So, this is a non-manufacturing cost. So that it is called as the period cost. Understanding what I am saying? Okay, that is about second point. What is the third point? Product cost will be debited to trading account. Period cost will be debited to P&L account. You tell me, material will be debited where? We have, in case of financial accounting, we have profit and loss statement. In the profit and loss statement, we have two categories: trading, profit and loss account. Material will be debited in trading P&L account. Trading, labor, trading, understanding, carriage inward, trading, that is one of the direct expense. Salary, P&L, rent, P&L. Understand what I am saying? Administration staff salaries, P&L. Selling expenses, P&L. So that means manufacturing costs we are debiting in the trading account, non-manufacturing costs we are debiting in the P&L account. So product cost will debit in trading account, period cost will debit in P&L account. All of you understand what I am saying? Last point is very, very important point. Product cost will expire to the extent of goods sold. What is expired cost? The cost which is charged against current year revenue is called as expired cost. Understanding? Product cost will expire to the extent of goods sold, unexpired to the extent of closing stock. If you look at this product cost, how much? 80,000. Out of 80,000, how much we are charging against current year revenue? We are charging only 64,000. What is that 64,000? To the extent of cost of goods sold. The 64,000 is the value to the extent of cost of goods sold. Even though the total is 80,000, we are charging only 64,000 against the current year revenue. So that means this product cost of 80,000 will expire to the extent of goods sold, unexpired to the extent of closing stock. Unexpired to the extent of the closing stock. Understanding? It will expire. See, product cost is 80,000. We are charging only 64,000. Unexpired is 16,000. This 16,000 will take over to next year. Okay. Next. What period cost will expire fully? See, 10,000 plus 10,000, 20,000. This entire 20,000 is charged against the current year revenue. See here, administration cost I am charging 10,000. Selling cost also I am charging 10,000. It is fully expired. There is no bifurcation. There is no classification. It is fully expired in the same year. Okay, this is about product cost and period cost. What is product cost? The cost which is considered simple. You need to remember what means. The cost which is considered for stock valuation is called product cost. The cost which is not considered for the stock valuation is called the period cost. This is more than enough for the remembrance. After that, what is the point? All manufacturing costs are product cost. All non-manufacturing costs are period cost. Product cost will debit in trading account. Period cost will debit in P&L account. Product cost will expire to the extent of goods sold, unexpired to the extent of closing stock, whereas period cost will expire fully. This is about product cost and period cost. All of you understand what I am saying? Okay. Next. So we already copied this product cost, period cost. What is the last one in the first slot? What is the last one? Job cost and unit cost. Okay. Let me complete that. Or unit cost and job cost, no problem, anything is fine. Job cost and unit cost, or unit cost and job cost. Okay, now let us understand these concepts here. Actually, job cost and unit cost are the methods of costing. Both the methods, job costing and unit costing, both the methods are used in the manufacturing industry. Both the methods are used in the manufacturing industry, but there is a difference in stock valuation. These two methods are specifying about the stock valuation. Understanding? See, if you take unit costing, let me take the unit costing. If you take unit costing, the stock will be valued on an average basis. When it comes to job costing, the stock will be valued on independent basis. Let me take one example. See, let me take the company Reynolds company, which is into manufacturing of the pen, If you take the Reynolds manufacturing company, they will manufacture similar type of products. If you take fine grip pen, all pens are similar type. They are spending 1 lakh rupees. And they are producing 1 lakh pens. Just I am taking example. They are producing 1 lakh pens and they are producing 1 lakh pens. Tell me, is it required to evaluate each and every pen separately? Should I take one pen? Okay, cap, refill, everything is there, 1 rupee. Like that I need to evaluate or what? Is it required like that? Absolutely no. All are similar pens. If it is similar pens, why to evaluate separately? I will take the average cost. How to take the average cost? What is the total cost spent? 1 lakh rupees. How many units manufactured? 1 lakh units. So 1 lakh rupees divided by 1 lakh units, each pen is 1 rupee. Each pen cost is 1 rupee. All of you understand what I am saying. So if they are manufacturing similar type of goods, they will follow the unit costing. If they manufacture dissimilar goods or heterogeneous goods, that means there is no uniqueness. Between the products. They will manufacture different products. I will take the example. L&T construction company. If you take the L&T construction company, are they going to build the same type of buildings? Are they going to construct the same type of dams? Absolutely no. They are going to construct different types of buildings and different types of dams and different types of bridges. So there is no similarity from one project to another project. At that time we cannot take the average. Understanding? See, if you take the Reynolds company, as I told you, they are manufacturing 1 lakh pens and the cost spent is 1 lakh rupees. Out of 1 lakh pens, 80,000 pens has been sold. 20,000 pens is lying as the closing stock. Understanding? Now in this case what will happen? We already know that on an average 1 rupee. Correct? So 80,000 into 1, 80,000 rupees is the cost of goods sold. 20,000 into 1, 20,000 rupees is the closing stock. Because 80,000 pens has been sold, 20,000 is lying as the closing stock. So 20,000 is the value of the closing stock. Let us take the L&T construction company. It is doing 4 projects. What are the 4 projects means? They are constructing one of the big bungalow. One more thing is independent house. One more thing is flat. One more thing is hut, small hut. To do all these 4 projects, bungalow, independent house, flat and then hut. To do all these 4 projects, they are spending 10 crore rupees. Can I say they are spending 10 crore rupees and they are doing 4 projects? So 10 crore divided by 4 projects, 2.5 crores for each project. Can I say like that? 2.5 crores for the construction of bungalow and 2.5 crores for the construction of hut. Can I say like that? Absolutely no, because these are not similar. So at that time, when I am producing the dissimilar type of products or when I am constructing dissimilar type of projects, I cannot follow the average basis. I need to evaluate independent basis. If suppose hut is not yet sold out, if you want to take it as closing stock, then hut is to be evaluated separately. If bungalow is not yet sold out, bungalow has to be evaluated separately. This is called as the job costing. Generally, why we call it job costing? For each project, we'll give the job number. Job A, job B, job C, like that we'll give the numbers, names. All of you understand what I am saying. So this is the difference between unit costing and job costing. Actually, these are the methods of costing. In case of unit costing, stock is going to be evaluated on an average basis. In case of job costing, stock will be valued independent basis. Each and every product evaluated separately. All of you understand what I am saying? Okay, now you can look at this. I given so product cost, period cost has been so unit cost and job cost. See here, it is used in the manufacturing industry where they manufacture homogeneous goods or similar goods. Where they manufacture the homogeneous goods or similar goods, then we can use the unit costing. Job costing, it is used in the manufacturing industry where they manufacture heterogeneous goods or dissimilar goods. There is no similarity between the products. If you take Reynolds company, I given the Reynolds product, pens, all are similar pens. If you take L&T company, there is no similar projects, all are different projects. Okay, next, the closing stock will be valued on average basis. This is very important. On an average basis, we are going to evaluate the closing stock. When it comes to job cost, we are going to evaluate on independent or individual basis. Independent or individual basis. This is about unit cost and job cost. If you want, you can copy the same thing in the notes. You can leave the space and you can copy the same thing in the notes. Okay, so by this we completed the first slot. All of you understand what I am saying? Okay, see, let me summarize what we discussed till now in the first topic and we'll wind up the class today. Okay, yeah. Firstly, we started with the definition of cost. What is cost? It should satisfy three conditions. Cost means any sacrifice made for the purpose of carrying on business or profession and which could be quantifiable in monetary terms is called as the cost. Examples is salary, rent can be considered as the examples. Then we discuss the cost classification. Why we need to do the cost classification? To achieve some purpose. To achieve some purpose, we will make the cost classification. There are three main purposes for the cost classification. That is number 1, stock valuation profit computation. Number 2, decision making. Number 3, control. If the purpose is stock valuation profit computation, we will classify the cost into expired cost, unexpired cost, manufacturing, administration, selling and distribution cost, product cost, period cost, and lastly job cost and unit cost. If the purpose is decision making, we will classify the cost into variable, fixed and semi-variable cost, sunk cost, opportunity cost, marginal cost. If the purpose is control, we will classify the cost into controllable cost, uncontrollable cost. Firstly, we started with the expired cost, unexpired cost. What is expired cost? The cost which is charged against current year revenue is called as the expired cost. The cost which carry forward to next accounting year is called as the unexpired cost. Expired cost example is cost of goods sold. Unexpired cost example is closing stock. Then we discuss the manufacturing cost. What is manufacturing cost? In simple terms, the expense incurred at factory will be called as the manufacturing cost. It can be any expense, will be considered as the manufacturing cost. The expense which carry, the expense, or else if you want to say it technically, the expense incurred from the purchase of raw material till the primary packing of finished good is called as the manufacturing cost. What is primary packing? We will discuss in the next class. Understanding? The manufacturing cost again divided into three categories: material, labor, expenses. Material, labor, expense again divided into direct and indirect. Direct material, indirect material, direct labor, direct expense, indirect expenses. If you add all the direct element, we call it a direct cost or prime cost. If you add all the indirect element, we call it as the overheads. The overheads again classified into what? Production overheads, administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads. Understanding? Next, we discuss the product cost and period cost. What is before that, direct material. What is direct material? The material cost which can be economically identified or which can be traced into the final product is called as the direct material. The material cost which cannot be traced or which cannot be economically identified in the finished product is called as the indirect material. Direct labor, the person who is directly engaged in the production is called as the direct labor. The one who is not directly engaged is called as the indirect labor. Other than material and labor will be considered as the direct expenses, and that too the expense which can be traced to the final product is called as the direct expense. The expense other than direct expense is called as the indirect expenses. Okay, then we discuss the administration cost. What is administration cost? The expense incurred at corporate office is called as the administration cost. What is selling cost? The expense incurred to promote the sales is called as the selling cost. The expense incurred to dispatch the product is called as the distribution cost. Then we discuss one more thing called as the product cost and period cost. What is product cost? The cost which is considered for stock valuation is called as the product cost. The cost which is not considered for the stock valuation is called as the period cost. All manufacturing costs are product cost. All non-manufacturing costs are period cost. What is non-manufacturing? Administration, selling, distribution will be considered as the non-manufacturing. Okay. Product cost will debit in trading account. Period cost will debit in P&L account. Product cost will expire to the extent of goods sold, unexpired to the extent of closing stock, whereas period cost will expire fully. Okay, lastly we discussed the unit cost and job cost. What is unit cost? Unit cost will be used in the manufacturing industry where they manufacture the homogeneous or similar type of goods. Job cost will be used in the manufacturing industry where they manufacture heterogeneous or dissimilar goods. In case of unit costing, very important. In case of unit costing, we are going to evaluate the stock on an average basis. In case of job costing, we are going to evaluate the product on individual basis or independent basis. This is what we discussed in the today's session. All of you understanding? So in next class we are going to complete the remaining types of cost and we are going to start doing the problems. As I told you, initially you will not understand why I am discussing all these things. But believe me, once we started doing questions, then you will get to know why we are discussing all these things. Until completion of first four chapters, have some little bit patience. Once we're done with that, later on, definitely I'm telling you, you will have very much clarity over the subject. Very good clarity over the subject. Until that, have some patience. And before attending the next class, just revise what we discussed in the today's class. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day. Signing off for the day.